Dr. Pratik. Pratik is also.
Okay, maybe Dr. Pratik is having some
yes.
power problem.
No issue. No issue.
We can start. We can go ahead with.
Yeah. A very good morning to all of you. This is the 3 days online process orientation program on child-centric disaster risk reduction. Let me share the background of this program for the benefit of all the dignitaries and participants. The disaster threatens the lives and constitutional rights and needs of the children at worldwide. In past 3 decades, India have faced devastating disasters like Laturi earthquake, Odisha super cyclone, Bhuj earthquake, tsunami, and Jammu Kashmir earthquake, and a lot of urban flooding and recent COVID-19 pandemic. And these disasters adversely affecting women and children. During these emergencies, children are especially vulnerable to diseases, malnutrition, violence, and trafficking. Measles, diarrhea, acute respiratory infections, malaria, and malnutrition are the major killers of children during the humanitarian crisis. In future, the vulnerability of children is expected to increase as the intensity and frequency of natural disasters rises. Keeping in view of increasing the vulnerability of children from climate change and natural disasters, the Child-Centric Disaster Risk Reduction Center and NIDM and the Mizoram University have joined hands together to organize this 3 days training program. And this program has 2 modules. Module 1, Disaster and Children, and Module 2 is Approaches to Child-Centric Disaster Risk Reduction. And each day it has 2 sessions, and you will be enjoying with all our practical orientation through this program. With this brief introduction, now I may invite Professor Lal Masai, Professor, Department of Education, Director, UGC Human Resource Development Center, Mizoram University, to deliver a welcome address. Over to you, Professor.
Okay, thank you, Chairman, Moderator, Dr. Balu. This is the second time that NIDM and Mizoram University organized this kind of program. We all, I think, remember that last year we organized this kind of program very successfully. And this time also, I hope that it will be successful. So actually, I wanted Head of Department, Professor Malsomi, to give welcome address, but she's now having some engagement, and she will join us later. As coordinator of this program from Mizoram University side, first of all, I wholeheartedly welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor C.R.S. Sambasivarao, who is to deliver inaugural address. I know how busy he is, so he has many assignments to do. He has many meetings to attend. And in spite of that, he spares his valuable time for this program. And we are very, very thankful for that. Then this morning, Professor Santosh Kumar, Project Director, CCDRR Center, and NIDM, is to give opening remarks. I welcome him to do so and thank him for his presence today. Now, resource persons for this training program will mostly be people from CCDRR Center, NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management, such as Dr. Kumar Raka, Dr. Balu I, Sri Ranjan Kumar, and also Ms. Namrata Sharma, counseling psychologist from YWCA, New Delhi. So I welcome all of you, the resource persons, and I hope that you would inspire all the participants to be of some help in child-centric disaster risk reduction. Now, I appreciate the efforts of Dr. Balu I, coordinator from NIDM side, and Dr. Pratik Chaurasia, organizing secretary from Mizoram University side, for successful organization of this training program. Now, I welcome all the participants without whom the conduct of this program would not have been possible. So it is my wish that this program would be beneficial for the participants in some ways or another. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your formal welcome address. And we are extremely happy and privileged to have our eminent speakers, Professor Santosh Kumar, Kumar Raka sir, and Ranjan sir. Everybody is there. And with us, we have our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.R. Sambasiva Rao sir. So now for moving forward in the program, I would like to invite Professor Santosh Kumar for the opening remark. Sir, you are invited to please have a talk with us. It's over to you, sir.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Dr. Prateek. And very good morning to Professor K.R.S. Sambasiva Rao, Vice Chancellor of the Mizoram University, Professor Lalmasai Madam from the Mizoram University, and our own team, Dr. Raka, Dr. Balu, Mr. Ranjan, Dr. Vartika, and Ms. Dolphy, along with the resource person, as very rightly mentioned, Dr. Namrata. On behalf of the National Institute of Disaster Management, especially on behalf of Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, the Executive Director of NIDM, and my own personal behalf, along with the team, I welcome all the distinguished participants who have joined this particular program, and also the dignitaries for the inaugural session, especially the Vice Chancellor and the Professor Lalmasai, and from there, Dr. Prateek. Indeed, it's a great pleasure, as Professor Lalmasai very rightly mentioned about that this is the second initiative. So this is a kind of a building block for partnership. So first we did, and now we are doing the second program. So it's a very great pleasure for CCDRR and NIDM joining hands with the university. And NIDM, I must inform at this stage only, that NIDM is also having that Association of Indian Universities, where Mizoram University, if they have not joined, they can join also as a member and become the part of this whole initiatives, not only the child-centric DRR, but also along with the overall holistic disaster risk reduction perspective in the country, especially in the northeastern region. Our team would definitely be deliberating upon the children's vulnerability. The concept note also talked about that. So I don't have to repeat on that. Only thing which we now, at this point of time, I would mention that gradually what we say is the vulnerability is not going down, but it's increasing. We say that risk is dynamic, and that risk is dynamic, and the vulnerabilities are also dynamic, unless we start working. And dynamic means both ways. If we work for risk reduction, that will go negative. It will not work for risk reduction, it will go positive. So in the positive, in the sense that it will add more and more and more. So we need to look at various disasters which we are facing and what country is facing. Like when we say Northeast region, then we say that Northeastern region is very much susceptible to earthquake, landslide, floodings, cloudburst. Then also today we are saying the forest fire. And another area of concern is that gradually heat wave, that in the hills we never heard that the fan and cooler is there. In 20 years ago it was not there, but now it is forming the part of the day-to-day life. So meaning thereby globally, if you get the data, and we see that heat wave is also increasing. And I'm very happy to note here and bring out on the point that Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, has also taken global initiative for, along with some few other countries, for climate risk adaptation and also climate risk reduction. Meaning thereby that whatever the point I'm saying when we say the risk is dynamic. So if we are going into the process of reduction of risk, then definitely it's a good thing to do. But on the other hand, when we see that if we are ignorant, then it has a larger implications on the children. And that is why we are doing this program. And children, we always say, whether in the concept note or various speakers who comes and address, they know the distinction that the children's need at the 0 to 5 years of age is entirely different. And in 5 to 10 years is entirely different, and so on and so forth. But within the 0 to 1 years is also very different. So how those risks could be identified and could be addressed. And suppose at the time of disaster, they are at different locations. Children are at different locations. Mothers are at the different locations. Parents are not there. In that scenario, how we are going to protect them? What kind of a mechanism which we have, whether our state disaster response force, whether our state police force, the state responders, volunteers, NGOs, civil society, are they aware that when they are going for providing humanitarian assistance, the structure of the victim or the configuration of the victims would be very, very heterogeneous. It's not the homogeneous. So in this context, what we see that universities are in a better position to give insight on various issues, whether it's social issues, psychological issues, economic issues, early warning related science issues, so on and so forth. And how these can be knitted together for making a better disaster management system. So that was the idea of child-centric DRR, that making children resilient towards disaster and making them least vulnerable so that impact is minimum. This is the goal, our ultimate goal, that where we wish to reach. But in between, there are many steps which we need to follow. And I'm sure this particular training is also one of the initiatives for this kind of engagement. So I would stop here, and I just flagged that 2-3 things to be kept in mind. One, that when we are planning any education and learning module, that we should be concerned about that how the children are not left out, and children should be always kept in the front while planning for risk reduction. Number 2 is that how our higher education can provide that space where the children's voice could be heard in disaster risk management. So can university also facilitate some initiatives with the other groups, with CCDRR, where we can provide that platform for this. And the third is that how we can have the continuum of this learning process. CCDRR is one, but how we have a continuum so that information and capacity building keeps moving so that we can move together for risk reduction. So that was 3 important points which I wanted to flag for this particular meeting. Thank you so much to all of you. Once again, I extend my warm welcome to all of you. And hopefully I can hear Professor Rao also, that Vice Chancellor, and we will listen that how he sees that CCDRR engagement with the Mizoram University moves forward. Thank you very much to all my CCDRR team and also Mizoram University team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for awareing all of us on such a critical issue on disaster management and enlightening all of us. Thank you so much. And now in the sequence, I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Sir, am I audible to you? Sir, we would like to have a talk, sir. Sir, am I audible to you? Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor KRS Sambasiva Rao, sir. Sir is with us. So, sir,
Yes.
please.
Actually, I have one Vice Chancellor's meeting. That's why I'm a little bit confused, and
Yes,
a
sir.
lot of power fluctuations are coming. So
Yes,
I'm
not sure.
Sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for inviting me to give opening remarks. And I thank very much the Nidhi Institute for organizing and for choosing Mizoram University as one of the co-sponsor for this particular online orientation program. And online orientation training on child-centered disaster risk reduction is one of the very important topic for this particular time. As you know that last 1.5 years we are suffering with the COVID pandemic. and many children were actually parentless, and they are not even getting proper nutrition, proper food, and proper care. And several parents were died, and they lost one parent lost the person who is earning income also for the house. He was also not there. In several families it was happening. As already rightly in the beginning, I was listening to the Dr. Balu's introduction, how this how a lot of problems during tsunamis, cyclones, and disasters and earthquakes, how the children are getting suffered. Similarly, this is more devastating now in the last 1.5 years. We don't know how COVID pandemic is going to be resulted, when it is going to be cured also. Nobody knows this, and people are very much scared, and every day we are getting some kind of messages that COVID third wave is going to start this particular last week of August or September 1st week. And today's newspaper, in one of the newspapers, very big newspaper, it was saying that September 1st week, third wave is going to come. And it has been referred by Niti Aayog, and they were writing that Niti Aayog has given. And it was really panic to many people. And even children, they are not able to go to the school, and particularly during the crucial time, 10th class and intermediate, and actually they are not able to write examinations. And also in schools, particularly basic education, when they join into the schools, they are not getting. This is one angle, and that another angle is losing parents, and losing household income generator is also been lost in several families. And also many people who are dependent on seasonal workers like agriculture income and other seasonal jobs, they are lost the income actually in the last 1.5 years. And there are several people, they are having food and nutrition, and they are not able to survive in this particular situation. And the state governments also, they are not able to understand how this pandemic situation has to be controlled, how the children has to be taken care, how the families has to be taken care. A lot of money is pumping from the government of India, but how this is going to be monitored, how they are not being trained. This is one of the biggest opportunity for the trainers, particularly in the state governments. If you are able to give training for them, how you best you can utilize the particular money coming from the central government, and how you are going to utilize this money properly, and how you have to take care of the children. This will be very good if you are able to give some kind of training for the various the government, particularly in the governance of the various state governments. There are many state governments we are not able to understand, particularly their emphasis is going on control of the COVID, but still they were actually not only controlling, they are actually been suffering with this kind of problems also, and a lot of financial problems for the state government. So how to maintain this particular one, how to get the different sources of funding, and how to get the sponsorship for the children, how they are going to be, how public is to be involved in this. This is one of the very good big challenge in the particular situation. And this particular kind of workshop, particularly for training particular educators and also the officers and other people who, if they are trained in this particular workshop, it will be very good for them to organize this situation and come out from the situation and help the society in a better way. So I request all of you to utilize this opportunity from the various parts of the country and state who have joined this particular workshop. Utilize this opportunity and get yourself involved in helping the people who are in need. So this particular workshop will be very good and a very pertinent one for the society now. I thank Nidhi for choosing Mizoram University once again, for organizing along with Mizoram University. It was such an important topic for enlightening the public and also to the various government officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening all of us and giving your blessings towards the betterment of this program. We would like to do this kind of programs in the future also. But for today, we are extremely thankful to you, sir, for coming here and giving your time for the formal inaugural address. And along with you, I am very thankful to Professor Santosh Kumar, Professor Lal Masai Chuango, Mr. Ranjan Kumar is there, Dr. Kumar Raka, and other dignitaries, those who have joined. And along with us, I am very thankful to our participants, those who have joined with enthusiasm and a zeal to understand this very sensitive topic, which is related to the child-centric disaster management. So with this all, I extend my heartfelt thanks to everybody on the behalf of Department of Education and the whole family of Mizoram University. Thank you everyone for joining. And now with this straightforward, we will move towards our first technical session. And for first technical session, I would like to invite Dr. Kumar Raka. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, perfectly all right.
Before going to the session, sir, I would like to introduce a little bit regarding you, because there is a lot of things which we can read, but due to paucity of time, I would like to introduce you to our participant. So we will take just
Let me introduce myself, Dr. Pratik.
that will be more good, sir, if you can do that.
Yeah.
I invite you.
Very good morning to all of you. All the dignitaries, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mizoram University, Professor K.R.S. Sambasiva Rao, sir, Professor Santosh Kumar, sir, and also I would like to thank our Executive Director, Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal, sir, who has been our patron for organizing such programs. And along with that, I'm also thankful to my entire team, Dr. Balu, Sri Ranjanji, Dr. Vartika, and Ms. Dolphy for collaborating with different institutions all around the country in conducting the training programs. A little bit introduction from my side about me. I'm a social scientist and working in the field of disaster management from last 18 to 20 years. And I feel that disaster management is my passion, and throughout my career after finishing of my studies, doctorate from Jawaharlal Nehru University, I'm into the field of disaster management, solely disaster management. So that is my very short introduction to all of you. And let's go ahead with the today's presentation. The first presentation, like Honorable Vice Chancellor and Professor Santosh both mentioned. Let's see, we are talking about children. There are a lot of concerns actually where we have to focus. The school closures is one of them, and during this 3 days program, we will be having one session on school safety as well, where we will be talking now schools are reopening. But from last 1.5 years, actually what has happened, COVID has forced us to stay inside our homes. A lot of activities, what were actually normal before COVID-19 is now restricted. And every time we have to live with a fear, with a panic that third wave is looming large, third wave will be attacking the children. And recently, the CCDRR Center of NIDM has come up with a wonderful report regarding that projections or the third wave and children, what will happen. And that has been submitted to Ministry of Home Affairs and has gone to Prime Minister's office as well recently. So the thing is that, see, if the third wave or the fourth wave is imminent or the fifth wave, we don't know actually right now, like our eminent speakers told us. So how to break the chain of COVID-19 and how to live with it? So the best answer is COVID appropriate behavior. And for following COVID appropriate behavior, we have to do certain things, and certain things actually we don't have to do. Right. So this presentation is all about that, and that is mandatory. That first session of all the trainings conducted by National Institute of Disaster Management is focused on COVID appropriate behavior and do's and don'ts. So let me share my screen with you. Dr. Balu, can you? Okay, now, yeah, I can share.
It's loading, sir.
Yeah. It's perfectly fine.
Yes, perfectly visible.
Perfectly visible. Thank you. So let's start with that COVID appropriate behavior, because this is the only thing we will be able to break the chain if we will be following certain do's and certain do nots. The first and very important thing to give all of you a little background. I mean to say, I would like to relate its spread, its contagiousness, and the imminent danger it's with the COVID-19. all of you will be knowing that the first case of COVID-19 was into the Wuhan province of China on 1st of December 2019 in a 55-year-old man. This is the right information we are having as of now about the first COVID case. Maybe a lot of research is going on at that as well, whether that was the first case or it was there before this case was found. And just see the timelines. On December 1st, 2019, Wuhan province of China, and on 30th of January 2020, the first case in India was reported in the state of Kerala. Okay. And after that, if you remember exactly, by the end of March, the entire world was into the lockdown. Okay. So understand the contagiousness of this disease. And you know what is the amount of disease? What is the actual volume of this virus? The entire virus that has affected the entire world can be counted on your fingertip. Can be. It's just little virus. And that has forced all of us to shut down our homes, shut down our institutions, and being locked. So December 2019, 30th of January, India, and after that, March, end of the March, the entire world, including India, was under the lockdown. So if we want to avoid the same thing again, because disaster management is actually the learning process. We were not prepared for such a scale of biological disaster that is COVID-19, but we have learned a lot of lessons out of it. And this entire session is about those lessons, along with the logic behind it, so that we would be able to fight the third wave and fourth wave and fifth wave if it's coming. This is the data which you are showing on your screen is the previous week data. In India, there have been around 3.23 crore cases, confirmed cases, almost 4.32 lakh people have died. And also the good thing is that over 3 crore people have recovered as well. This is also previous week data, not yesterday or not today's data. Previous week data says that daily new cases rise by 35,178. Today it was 25 or something. So it's someday it's increasing, someday it's decreasing. But scientists are telling that by the end of the October, the third wave will be coming. And many countries are suffering with the third wave as of now. Vaccination is another very, very important thing. And along with this do's and do nots, I would like to stress all those countries who has vaccinated their people with a larger number, with larger percentage, are nearer to achieve the herd immunity against this COVID-19. So vaccination is one very important aspect. And India is vaccinating people with the largest number every day. And vaccination hesitancy should be avoided. Whatever vaccine is available with you, around you, whatever vaccination is available in your area, you must go ahead and take the vaccine. It's not only that you are saving yourself. Yes, vaccine can save you as well, but it's also important to achieve the herd immunity within the community and the society. So let's go ahead with that. Now, first thing, when we are talking about COVID-19, the first thing appears into our mind that what is COVID-19? So all of us know that COVID-19 is a newly found virus, and the family of the virus is quite old. The SARS-1 and SARS-2 we all have listened about. But this virus has, the family is old, but this virus has some newly formed DNA and RNA matching, and that is why vaccination was not available, and that is why humanity was at risk previously last year. But now the vaccine is available, so we don't need to fear COVID-19 actually, but we have to be careful. Okay? Because being careless, again, falling into the trap of uncertainty. So symptoms are the first thing. And COVID-19 symptoms are not different from any other cough or cold or a fever symptom. The normal symptoms appear in COVID-19 as well, but is actually we have already felt previously whenever we are falling sick. Either it's a cough, sore throat, fever, muscle pain, chills, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, loss of taste or smell, diarrhea, headache. These all symptoms we used to face whenever we are falling sick. So this is the time of COVID-19, and since the symptoms are not different from other sickness or illness, we have to be extraordinarily careful even if we are having some sort of symptoms, any one or two or three or even a single one, then we don't have to go for the self-medication or don't have to wait that this is going to be okay or not. Immediately we need to talk to our doctors, right? And we have to tell them that, see, we are having these symptoms, and doctors are actually the right people who can tell us which medication we have to go ahead with, for how many days or how much period. And if not, improvement is not seen, then we must go for RT-PCR test or antigen test, and accordingly. So consulting doctor is important here, okay? And if not, avoiding symptoms is most important. If symptoms avoid, suppose that if I'm having sore throat from last 1 week or 10 days, and I'm taking my self-medication, whatever usually I used to take, and if the improvement is not seen, and till the time 10 days are passed, and already maybe that is COVID-19, I have been infected with COVID-19, and 10 days is a crucial time, and unless I'll find out, it will be too late. So don't avoid symptoms and talk to your doctor. Now, certain things do's and do nots, and after that we will explain each and everything. Washing our hand is the first thing if we want to break the chain of COVID-19, along with other things. Washing our hand with soap and water is very, very important. And where soap and water is not available, we have to go with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. The second thing is cover your nose, mouth while sneezing and coughing. It's always an ethical sense whenever we are sneezing or coughing, then we have to either put a handkerchief or a tissue paper. If nothing is available, then we should go ahead with like that, or like this also. So that is very ethical also, and in times of COVID-19, it's important. And whenever we are using any napkin or tissue paper, that has to be thrown into the closed bins, not into the open space, not into the open areas. About doctor, I have already told you that whenever you are seeing any symptom, don't ignore it and don't go with the self-medication. Go and see a doctor. Talk to a doctor. Go and see a doctor doesn't mean that you have to visit the clinic or the hospital. You can always talk to your doctor over the phone. Avoid large gatherings is another very important message. Until unless it's very important, try to avoid go into the public places, markets, restaurants, railway stations, etc. Because see, and not only that, you have to avoid large gatherings wherever it's maybe religious congregations, or the maybe marriages or the other social events where a lot of guests are arriving, a lot of unknown people are coming. Because it has been found in the research that in large congregations and large gatherings, whenever even one or two people are infected, and if it's going into a closed space, there are chances that maximum number of people gathered there will be infected with COVID-19. And accordingly, what we do not have to do, we don't have to come into a close contact with anyone unknown who are experiencing cough or fever. Touching our eyes, nose, and mouth, that is a normal human subconscious phenomena that within an hour, if you will count that a normal person touches the area above his neck 50 to 250 times within an hour, okay, depending on the age group of the person. It's more frequent in the children, and in adults also it's very common. But 50 to 250, 100 times you will be touching the area of your neck unconsciously without knowing. So this is also one crucial thing that during this COVID-19, we have to avoid this habit, because the fingers and eyes, nose and mouth, whenever fingers are touching something unknown and it's going towards our nose, eyes and mouth, and suppose that the fingers are infected, contaminated, then the virus gets the way to enter our body. And it's only our nose, eyes and mouth from where virus can enter our body, nowhere else. Like sneezing and coughing was not an ethical sense, so is the spitting. Spitting in public places are never ethical, and during COVID-19, it's a act which can be fined by the, which has been fined by the government. Punishable act, you can say. Spitting is also dangerous because suppose that someone is infected with COVID-19 and while walking or traveling and even within the home, normally spitting everywhere, then there are chances that very tiny aerosols that is present in his spit may spread in the air, and the other people passing through that area may get infected. So spitting, coughing and sneezing and even loud speaking without mask, it's dangerous if the person is infected with COVID-19. Now the question is whether we are following this or not. Washing our hands with soap and water frequently. Whenever we are coughing or sneezing, we are covering our nose or mouth or not. Even whenever we are meeting someone unknown and they are experiencing cough or cold, then we are maintaining 2 meters of distancing with them or not. If any symptoms are appearing within ourselves, then we are talking to a doctor or not, or we are going for the self-medication like previously we were doing. So if we are not doing all these things, then we must do this if we want to break the chain of COVID-19, if we don't want the third wave or fourth wave on our head. Okay. And now the prominent question is that 2-3 things also more I'm going to discuss with you. But the first thing, many of people you are here, almost 150 people. Do you know that how many minutes or how many seconds it's safe to wash our hands with soap and water minimum? I mean to ask you how many minutes or seconds we have to wash our hands with soap and water. What is the minimum duration into the minutes or the seconds we need to wash our hands with soap and water? Please answer me in the chat box. I would like to see the information of our participants as of now. So if you are listening me and if you want me, I can convert that into Hindi as well. I can speak Hindi and English both. Minimum कितने समय के लिए साबुन और पानी से हाथ धोना जरूरी है? Please write in the chat box. The first answer I have received from Amanpreet Kaur. Second answer, Asutosh Kumar. More answers I would like to see before I give you the right answer. 150 people, 3 replies. Yes, now 4, 5, yes, 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 yes. No, many of you are having the right information, but many of you are having the wrong information as well. So see, that is the purpose of revisiting COVID do's and do nots again, so that we can arrive at a logical knowledge and logical answers as well. Minimum 20 seconds are the right answer, right? Minimum 20 seconds. If you are washing your hands for less than 20 seconds, then it's not good. Okay. And before, just keep me answering. Now I have answered already that 20 seconds are minimum time for washing our hands. I'll explain that into my next slide, why 20 seconds are actually important. And many of you people have told 2 minutes and 3 minutes, but it will not be possible to wash your hand for 2 or 3 minutes. It's too longer time. So I'll explain that during next slides, why 20 seconds are important. Let's go ahead before that. The fourth thing, again, if we want to break the chain of COVID-19, the wearing of mask. And wearing of mask, when we are talking about wearing of mask properly, doesn't mean that I'm having a mask. The first thing, what is the uses of mask? What is the, why we used to wear the mask? The simple answer, if we want to relate with other things, whenever we are going for drinking water, what we used to do? We try to get clean drinking water. And for getting clean drinking water, what we do, either we have RO in our house, or we used to check the TDS of the water before consuming. So the process of mask is very similar to water filter. The water filter gives us the clean drinking water, and the mask gives us clean drinking air to breathe in and breathe out. That's the very easy thing. Okay, so now the two more things. Whenever let's go ahead with the practicals. So it's not get boring. See, here is my mask. Okay, and whenever I want to wear it, whenever I'm going out of my comfort zone and I'm going to wear it, the first thing I'll do, I'll wash my hands. I'll wash my hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. And after that, I'll take my mask with its ties, right? I'm not touching the mask. And I'll put the ties over my ears and adjust it. That's it. That is the proper way of wearing a mask. I didn't touch the mask. See why I didn't touch the mask? Because if I be frequently touching my mask, or I'll be touching the mask itself, if the mask is infected or contaminated, then how it's going to give me the fresh air? Okay, so just take the ties and here. The second thing, not touching. The first thing is not touching. The second thing, nose here, right, and the entire mouth should be covered, so that whatever air now I'm breathing in or breathing out, it's going by the mask. Okay, so even if I'm infected and I'm breathing out, the fresh air is going, COVID-19 virus is not going out. If I'm not infected and if then I'm breathing and I'm passing through some public places and where other people are there about whom I don't know that they are having COVID-19 or not. So even if I'm inhaling the air for breathing in, then I'm inhaling fresh air without the fear of virus. Now let's go ahead on the next slide. This is what actually we used to see everywhere. And that is what I was telling you. If the mask itself is contaminated, then how it's going to save us? Wearing of mask is another thing. Having a mask is another thing. Properly wearing of mask is yet another thing. Everyone is wearing the mask, but in this fashion. What is over your screen? This is not the proper way of wearing the mask. And believe me, if you are meeting someone unknown, okay, and your guards are down for just 2 seconds or 3 seconds, like this, and if the person you are meeting is infected, you are going to be infected. No one can stop that. Within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. So don't let your guard down whenever you are going out. It always should be covered nose and mouth. That is the right way of wearing the mask. Otherwise, no usage of mask. And whenever I'll be removing my mask after coming from outside, visiting public places or the markets, then again the first thing I'll do, I'll wash my hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. And after that, I'll take my ties and remove the mask. If it's disposable mask, I'm gonna dispose it into the closed bin. And if it's the another one, N95 mask, it's reusable, then I'm going to wash it, dry it properly, and after that use it. So be aware of that again. Having the mask is another thing. Wearing of mask is another thing. Properly wearing of mask is yet another thing. And your guards down for 5 seconds, you are gonna infect it. Chances will be there. Now about washing the hands. 20 seconds was the right answer. Minimum 20 seconds is very important. And that has been arrived after a lot of research that if we wash our hands with soap and water for 20 seconds properly, you can see in the picture, palm to palm, between the fingers, back of the hand, base of the thumb, back side of the finger, fingernails until the wrist, and after that rinse and wipe it dry. Okay, sukhane hain achhe se. Okay, this gives us the liberty that, okay, if we have touched something unknown, contaminated, and even if the virus is in our fingers, in our hands, then 20-second minimum is the safe time that the protein layer of the virus dies. It's destroyed, actually, not die, destroyed. See, let me explain. You see, COVID-19 virus is like this. Okay, this one. They are having a lot of protein spikes all around them. Okay, protein spikes, you know, this spikes type of thing. Okay. And virus is safe inside that protein spike. And once this protein spike is destroyed, then the chances of survival of virus is minimized, absolute minimized. And that is the logic behind washing our hand for minimum 20 seconds. That 20 seconds are the safer time. If the virus is in our hand, the protein spike is going to be destroyed. And once that is destroyed, virus is going to die. So remember, every time minimum 20 seconds is very, very important whenever we are washing our hands, and you can see the way. And wherever soap and water is not available, then you can go ahead with the alcohol-based sanitizer. At least 60% content should be in the sanitizer should be alcohol-based. Okay, alcoholic. Now again revisit. So first we saw that wearing of mask. The second again we talked about washing our hands properly, and now the social distancing. Social distancing is again the very, very important component if you want to break the chain of COVID-19, if you want to avoid the third, fourth, fifth wave. Social distancing, it's a term, it's not meaning social distancing. Actually, it's physical distancing. Physical distancing means we have to maintain at least 2 meters of distance to all of the people about whom we are not known, we are not knowing that they are having COVID-19 infection or not. So whenever we are visiting any public place, hospital, restaurant, malls, markets, transport, public transport, buses or the trains, we have to maintain 2 meters of social distance. In order to maintain social distancing, we are avoiding classes till now. Okay. The official work is also going into the rotation. Many times staggering is done into the workplace and into the schools and the universities. And that is going to be continued for a while until unless herd immunity is achieved. And this one training is also, this was the classroom face-to-face training, and that has been translated into the online mode. For what? Just to avoid a proximity with each other, closeness with each other, physical, I mean to say. Okay. And that is why all over India, people from different parts of the country joined here on this platform, and we are talking to each other without being into the close contact of each other. And the third one is social events. Social events we also have to avoid as of now, because whenever there are any social event, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of guests also, but some social events cannot be avoided, birth of a new child, that cannot be avoided. Similarly, last rites of a deceased person, that also cannot be avoided. Marriages in some societies, that cannot be avoided or postponed or cancelled. So in that situation, which is not avoidable, we have to ensure that guesting is minimum. Okay. And accordingly, many state governments has previously enforced all that minimum number of guests in any social event that cannot be avoided. Similarly, there are certain do nots that also we have to take care of. We have to avoid everywhere, all the public places, until unless it's very, very important for us to go out and do that work. Either it's social, commercial, religious, cultural, or sporting, whatever it is, we have to avoid crowded or public places until unless it's very, very important. The second important thing is that previously, before COVID-19, shaking hands whenever we are meeting a new person or the known person. So what we used to do that we used to shake our hands, or the hugging as a matter of greeting. That was the common fashion in our country also, that shaking hands and hugging whenever meeting someone new or known. But this habit is actually not appropriate in times of COVID-19. In times of COVID-19, just go with Hindustani Namaskar, and that is enough, with 2 meters of social distancing. That will keep you safe, and that will keep other person also safe. Hindustani Namaskar with 2 meters of social distancing. And if you don't have to go out into the public places and marketplaces for until unless you have a very important work, then avoid traveling and tourist trips. And you must have seen that just after the restrictions were a little bit eased, then all the hill stations like Manali, Simla, Nainital started having surge of visitors there. So again, if we start doing all these things, then believe me, 10th wave will be coming to us. Anyway, these were the tips about appropriate COVID behavior and do's and do nots. Till the time we are not infected. And suppose that even after taking all the precautions, because contagiousness of this virus is really alarming, if we got infected, even after taking all the precautions, then there are two conditions. One condition is like it's a severe symptom. The other condition is like it's a mild symptom. If the contagiousness is, or the viral load is severe, then we have to hospitalize and we have to go under the medical supervision. And once into the medical supervision, then the doctors, the paramedics, the nurses are there to take care of us. But when the situation is mild, the viral load is mild, then we are advised to go into the home quarantine. And in the home quarantine, doctors are not available there, so we have to take care of ourselves. Okay. In that situation, certain tips we have to remember. And if we won't follow that again, then the entire family is going to be infected. The first thing, whenever we are going for the home quarantine, that we need to have a single room, and that room should be well ventilated. Well ventilated meaning proper sunlight and air is coming into the room. And it's best if that particular room is having a separate toilet. Right? See, toilets are a place where which are used by all the family members or the many people of a single family. And door handles, water taps, showers, flushes, these are the common places which everyone touches by their hand. And if the same washroom or the toilet is used by the infected person and non-infected people of the family, then the chances, maximum 99% chances you can tell will be there that the other family members will also be getting infected. So, but the diversified socioeconomic conditions in our country are there, and many households, majority of households are having single toilet. In that situation, what we have to do? In that situation, we have to ensure that after every time, if the infected person is using the toilet, and after that the toilet will be disinfected and sanitized before other non-infected members of the family are going to use it. So remember that. That is very, very important. The second thing is whenever we are sick or not well, unwell, and many of our relatives, friends used to visit us. In times of COVID-19, when we are into the quarantine, we have to avoid that. We have to tell them, don't come for the visit. It's always better that we talk to our friends or our relatives over the phone or the video call. And in any case, even if they are visiting us, then maintain 2 meters of social distancing between the two. Okay, not 1 meter, 2 meters of social distancing. I'm telling you, time and again. When quarantine means quarantine. Quarantine doesn't mean that if I'm having 5-bedroom house and I'm quarantined into my flat and I'm visiting all the bedrooms or all the area of my flat. No, quarantine means a single room, and unless I'm again negative, I won't go out. And similarly, we have to stay away from the vulnerable people within our family as well. That those are senior citizens, pregnant women, and young children. Okay, very young children, senior citizens, and pregnant women. We have to stay away from them. Restriction of movement, I already told you. And once infected, then there are 2-3 more important things. Frequent hand washing, and believe me, hand washing is one important tool that this within this entire 3 days training, it will come over 100 or 150 times over your screen on different slides. So just remember that washing our hand with soap and water 20 seconds, very, very important. And when infected, frequent hand washing we have to practice. There are certain items in our household like TV remote, keys, laptops, mobiles, that many of family members use the same household items. When we are infected, we have to avoid that those items which the infected person is using, other family members are not using. Okay. Otherwise, again, touching, coughing, sneezing, virus spread, very contagious, and everyone will be infected. Till the time I was wearing the mask when I was going out of my comfort zone into the public place. This is my drawing room. I'm sitting here and I'm completely and 110% ensure that the entire place is well sanitized, disinfected. No other people have come from outside. So I'm comfortable here without mask. But the moment I'll go out of my door, before that, I'll wear my mask. But when infected, if mildly infected and I'm into the home quarantine, then if I'm taking the class here also, then I'll be wearing the mask. Even when I'll be sleeping, then also I'll be wearing the mask. So means that when you are quarantined, infected within your home, use your mask 24/7, even when sleeping. The last important point into the quarantine tips is there are like household items, many household items, many family members are using the same thing. Similarly, there are many surfaces like railings. If we are having railings or washroom, I told you, give an example that door handles, window handles, taps or flashes. So you have to identify all those things. What are those surfaces which are commonly touched by all family members? And if the infected person is touching those surfaces, then we have to very carefully disinfect it after every uses. So these are the home quarantine tips. And after that, since this child-centric DRR, so special focus on do's and do nots about the children. We are adults, we can understand and we can maintain that. But children, it's difficult with them. But it's difficult, but not impossible, I would say. Okay. And for the sake of understanding in which children all these do's and do nots, at which level we have to take care of, let's divide the children into the 3 groups. Okay. Later on into the session, the experts will talk to you over the different life cycle approach of the children, because children are like our dignitaries also told, Professor Santosh and Honorable Vice Chancellor told that, see, children are not homogeneous, heterogeneous group. Heterogeneous not only in the sense of their social status or economic status, also with their age group. The definition says that the children, we used to say from 0 years to 18 years are the child. Okay, 0 years to 18 years are the child. Whenever you are into the womb, we start counting it as a child until the age of 18 years. But the understanding of the 0 to 18 years won't be the same. It's logical. So for the sake of understanding here, let's divide children into 3 groups. One is independent group. Independent, you can say 14 and above group is independent group. Independent in the sense that they don't need their caretakers or parents for their daily routine, like having food or sleeping. They can do it on their own. Okay. The second group you can say is dependent group. Dependent group, you may say 6-7 years or 6-7 years to 14 years or 13 years. Semi-independent means that they can do it on their own, but they need your guidance and direction. Okay. If a 6-year or 7-year-old kid has to go to toilet, you have to give direction, right? Similarly, for food or sleep, they need your direction and guidance. So, independent, semi-independent, and the most younger group of children is dependent children. They are dependent on their caretaker for their each and every need. Either it's a food or it's for drinking water or tying their shoe knots or sleeping or going to toilet. They need their parents, caretakers, family members. They can't do it on their own. So dividing children into these 3 groups, when they are dependent, semi-independent, and completely independent about their daily routine, the same is with COVID-19 protocol and do's and don'ts. In terms of dependent children, we have to be extraordinarily careful that they need our guidance, direction, and we have to be entirely observant whether they are following these protocols or not. For semi-independent children, we have to be directive but observant as well. Once directed, they can follow it on their own, but the caretakers have to be observant whether they are following it properly or not. And in independent children, once you guided them, once you told them what to do and what not to do, they very comfortably can do that. So all the things will be the same. So social distancing, the washing hands frequently, not touching our eyes, nose and mouth, wearing of mask properly. So if I see, just for an example, I mean, a 17 or 18-year-old kid is quite comfortable wearing of mask or washing his or her hand. But the same is not true with 4 or 5-year-old kid. In that situation, the parents, the caretakers has to be extraordinarily careful, and the responsibility of caretakers are multiplied manifold. Okay. This is the helpline number of COVID-19, and previously on various slides, you must have a lot of, you have seen a lot of helpline numbers, toll-free helpline numbers. So this entire PPT will be shared with all of you, so that in case if you need further information, more information, then you can always call upon toll-free numbers and get the required information. This is my last slide. Finally, I would like to tell all of you, see, we were not prepared. Like at the beginning of my session, I started with that. We went into the closed down. We hadn't seen the biological disaster of such a devastating scale, and we were not prepared. And not only we, the entire world was not prepared, right? That is why the entire world was forced to be shut down, locked down. Okay. And we were not prepared that because we haven't experienced any sort of biological disaster. Now we are experienced. Now we know what to do, what we don't have to do. But the question is that why we were not prepared? Because we were not taught since the beginning. In case of such a large scale pandemic, what do's we have to follow, what don'ts we have to follow. And that is why we were not prepared. But if today onwards, after experiencing this massive scale disaster worldwide, if we start preparing our children today onwards, then in the future, they are going to be much, much more prepared and resilient children compared to where we stand today. And in that direction, this is just a step. Whenever we are learning alphabet, we remember that in our childhood, we learn alphabet by A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog, right? And still we remember that. And if today's children start learning alphabet by A for avoid crowding, B for beware of fake news, C for clean your hands frequently, D for don't go out, etc., 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 then these all things learned into the developmental age, childhood, early childhood, it's going to remain with them for the lifelong. And I don't know who has prepared such a wonderful alphabet, COVID alphabet A to Z. I found it on the Google and I found it very appealing. So I share in my presentation with all the participants that wherever you have a young child who is into the age of learning alphabets within your family or along with your relatives or into your neighborhood, or you can try it if you are a teacher in your school. So that is going to be one step forward towards making our children who are future of today, who are future of tomorrow, actually, the citizens of tomorrow, more prepared and more resilient. And along with that, thank you very much. To the end of my presentation, and now I'm available for the question and answers. So if you people are having any questions or something, then I would request that as coordinators that they can come up with the question and answers so that we can discuss.
Yes, sir. So first of all, we would like to say thank you, sir, for giving a very enlightened and a very practical session. And I hope all the participants are highly benefited with the things that you have discussed with us. These are very important things what you have just discussed with us and thrown light over that. So now we would like to take some questions, and I would invite my participant. If you have any queries, you can directly ask to Dr. Raka, or you can put it in the question answer. We will take it from here. So we will not give so much time, but at least we can spare 5 minutes for the question answer. So if any query, you can ask because we have the experts and they can clarify your doubts.
I can see one question from Amanpreet Kaur ji.
Yeah, sure, sir. Please take it.
It says that in public places, it takes some time to first clean our soap, then we will use it for cleaning our hands, and we have to clean our fingers, nails, and spaces between the fingers as well. So it takes around 2 to 3 minutes in public areas. However, when we clean our hands in house, 20 seconds is enough. That's right, madam. I completely agree with you that when public places, soaps are also dirty, and many times first we have to clean the soap, and after that we have to clean our hands. Many times in the restaurant also I have observed it. And see, 20 seconds are minimum time actually. Okay, not less than 20 seconds is going to kill the destroy the protein layer of the COVID-19 virus. So minimum 20 seconds is most important. If you are going above 20 seconds, no problem with that. But 2-3 minutes is too much. Brushing of our teeth is actually 2 minutes recommended. 2 minutes morning, 2 minutes evening. Similarly, washing our hands 3 minutes. If you try just watching, looking at your watch, you'll really find it difficult that you are rubbing your hand for 3 minutes or 2 minutes with soap and water. But 20 seconds is very, very important. Minimum. Maximum you can go up to 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds, not a problem. And that's a right observation, what you have observed. And I have observed the same thing. The next one more thing is from Amanpreet Kaurji, that the social distancing, people in the market have to stop wearing the mask, and there are less sanitization points for people. Nobody bothers about physical distancing. It can be seen during the Rakhi celebration recently. What should be done? Actually, that is why this is a very common phenomenon. And between the gap between the first wave and second wave, the same thing had been observed. Okay. Even after learning a lot of lessons from the first wave, people didn't understand, and celebrations, social distancing, etc., continued. And that is why the third wave hit us very hard. And similar thing, you are perfectly all right in the markets. Many people are not observing the things. No mask, no social distancing, nothing. In that situation, we have to avoid visiting all those places if we want to keep us safe. First thing. The second thing, what we are doing here on this platform, dissemination of information. Since you learned a lot of things, we have learned a lot of things. We all have learned many logics behind the things. Why we have to wash out 20 seconds our hand? Why actually we have to wear the mask? What is the importance of social distance? So all this information, whatever we have learned, it should be disseminated to other people, our family members, our neighborhood, and that is how the information is spread, how the information is disseminated. And believe me that the information dissemination or information spread mechanism is much slower than the spread and contagiousness of this virus. So unless we all combinedly would try to defeat it, no one can help. And I'm telling you, third wave, fourth wave, 10th wave, I can predict. The only thing we can stop it, no other person is going to stop it. Okay, I'm looking at the next questions. If I'll find relevant questions, I'll take another question. See, severity of third wave, we can't actually predict as of now, but this is a question for Anejaya Sila. What should be the severity of third wave, sir? Nobody seems to be bothered at all, right? But many people are bothered, actually. We all are bothered. That is why we are enjoying this session, and we are learning from each other. And after learning, we have to disseminate this information to others as well. But severity, right now, we are not in a situation to tell. In US, some research has came up recently that third wave is affecting children, and hospitalization of children has been increased. So as of now, it's very difficult to exactly predict any scale or severity level. But there are many scientists that are telling scientific community, one scientific community is of view that third wave will be more severe for the children. Children will be infected. But there are actually there are no scientific evidence for that. Okay. So it's difficult to speak of the severity as of now. But Delta variant, as of now, what has been happened, that third wave is being called Delta variant. Okay. And whatever vaccination was previously discovered or being applied for the Alpha variant or the Gamma variant, those vaccination is not actually, I mean to say, not so useful for this third variant, Delta variant. That is what have worried the scientists the most. Okay, so this new variant, the efficacy of those vaccination is less actually. It's not like that it's completely useless, but efficacy compared to alpha or beta, the delta variant vaccination efficacy is less. And that is why we have to maintain social distancing, hand washing, and uh, wearing of mask very properly, very religiously. Otherwise, it will be difficult again, and we have to go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for clarifying the doubts of our participant. And as you can see in the chat box also, it seems that they are highly satisfied with your session. So thank you so much. And I extend our heartfelt thanks on the behalf of Department of Education for addressing with a wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir. And now for the next session, our next technical session, I would like to invite the next speaker, Dr. Balu. Sir, am I audible to you? Are you here with us? Yeah, sir is here. So before going to the session directly, I would like to introduce our speaker of the day to our participant. Dr. Balu is working in CCDRR Center at National Institute of Disaster Management, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Previously, he served as an assistant professor at Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, and he has 2 years of research experience from the National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. Overall, has the 10 years of experience of development, and he has received his PhD in sociology from Madurai Kamaraj University.
Sir, thank you so much. Is my
I invite you, sir, as we have our all things, our participants have joined. So I invite you to please address all of us on the topic.
Is PowerPoint is visible to you?
It is not fully visible, sir. Means you have to enlarge your PowerPoint. Please maximize the slide.
Is that okay now?
I think, sir, it is not properly visible.
Okay, let me.
You can just use the F5 button. If you can press the F5, it.
Okay, sure. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just I will. I hope now it's.
Yes, sir. Now it is properly visible. So you can continue, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So once again, very good afternoon to all the participants. I hope you all enjoyed the first session with very practical orientation of do's and don'ts with COVID-19. Right here, we will be discussing about 2 sections. One is hazard profile of India and the disaster management mechanism in our country. Right. As you all aware that India is the 7th largest country in terms of geographical area. Right, we have such a vast geographical area, and at the same time we are second most populous country with almost 1.4 billion 40 billion people, right? And very soon we are going to overtake China, and due to this physiographic and climatic conditions, our country is the most disaster prone area in the world, right? So we have so many countries, but our country is most disaster prone area because of the physiographic locations, and we have a length of east coast and also in the west coast, and we also have a Himalayan Ganges, right? So many times these are all very good assets for us. At the same time, we are also facing natural disasters, and in almost 60% of the landmass is prone to earthquake in our country. The severity is from moderate to very high intensity, right? And just I'll share the few facts, data, so that you can understand how our country is very much vulnerable to the different types of disasters. And similarly, more than 40 million hectares, it's about 12% of the total land mass is prone to floods and river erosion. And if you see the recent situation report of flood, heavy rainfall, and landslide in India, the report which published in 16th August 2021, almost three states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Assam, these are the three states where being facing a flood situation, right? And almost more than 6,76,000 people are being affected by these floods in these three states, and almost 12 people have also been lost their life. And more than 21,000 people are kept in the relief centers. And the report also says that more than 600 houses were also being damaged, right? And the NDRF and other state disaster response team has also evacuated almost 60,000 people, and more than 300 camps are also being maintained at these three states for safeguarding the people, right? And as I was saying that we have a very long coastline, right? And this coastline is also very much vulnerable to cyclones and tsunami. And again, saying that 68% of the total cultivable area is vulnerable to drought. As you all aware that though India is having some part are having a river and they are facing the flood situation, but some parts of our country is also facing the drought. And apart from that, our country is also vulnerable to landslide and snow avalanches, right? So though we are facing such type of natural disasters, and again, our country is also very much vulnerable to CBRN disasters like chemical, biological, and radiological and nuclear disasters. So why I'm saying this all is to understand how our country is very much vulnerable to different types of hazards or multi-hazards, right? So though we are having a largest geographical area and we are having the high populous country, and at the same time, we are also very much vulnerable to different types of disasters. This is the situation in our country. So now let us take one by one cyclone, this and drought and tsunami, and see how it is vulnerable to our country. As previously we were discussing, India is having almost 7,516 kilometers of this coastline, right? And out of that, this coastline is almost vulnerable to cyclones, and out of that 5,700 kilometers of coastline is vulnerable to tsunami. And let us understand which are all the states are highly vulnerable for cyclone. As you all aware, this Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Kerala, and Pondicherry, most of the states which is being located in this east coastal area is highly vulnerable states. So whenever any cyclone forms, it hits only these states mainly. Most of the cyclones were hitting these states, especially Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat, Kerala, and Puducherry. So this Gujarat and Kerala, which is located in the west coast, is also vulnerable. This and again going into little deep, the 10% of the world's tropical cyclone is being formed and within this 7,500 kilometer coastline, right? And we have a Arabian Sea and also we have a Bay of Bengal, right? So these cyclones occur frequently from both east coast and the west coast, right? And these more cyclones are found are occurring in the Bay of Bengal, as you all aware. And if you see the ratio of this cyclone formation, it is 4:1, right? In case if four cyclones form in Bay of Bengal, at least one cyclone will be formed in the Arabian Sea. So the more cyclones occurs in the Bay of Bengal than in the Arabian Sea, and the ratio is approximately it is 4:1, right? And on an average, 5 to 6 tropical cyclones forms every year, right? And out of that, 2 to 3 could be very severe in which is very severely hitting our country. So I hope you all got how this our country is vulnerable to cyclone. Let us have a very surprise quick to you. Can anyone tell me the name of recent cyclone formed in the Arabian Sea? Arabian Sea. I request all of you to kindly post in the chat box. As we were discussing that the ratio of formation of cyclone is 4:1 ratio, right? The 4 cyclones formed in the Bay of Bengal and 1 cyclone is to form in the Arabian Sea. So can anyone tell me the recent cyclone formed in the Arabian Sea? I request all of you to kindly type in the chat box. Please type the name of recent cyclone formed in the Arabian Sea. Okay. Let me move on to the next. Yeah, I got an answer from Mr. Ramanpreet Kaur. Very good. And also got an answer from Jan. Good. So 2 people have written the right name of this, as they rightly mentioned, Turkey, right? This is the recent cyclone formed in the Arabian Sea. Okay. So coming to again these cyclones, there are 13 coastal districts, right? And also union territories in a country, and missing 18 coastal, sorry. Out of these 13 coastal states which are vulnerable to cyclone, having 84 coastal districts which are affected by these tropical cyclones. As we were discussing that this Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, right, West Bengal, and which is having 84 coastal districts, and these are the districts who are highly vulnerable, right? And again, the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and Puducherry, located in the east coast, and the Gujarat in the west coast are highly vulnerable to cyclone disaster in our country, right? And so coming to tsunami, as you all aware that in 2004 we have faced this tsunami, and it is a seismic sea wave, and this series of large waves with extremely long wavelength happening in the deep ocean makes this tsunami, right? And how the tsunami is generated, it's basically there are different plates used to join in the earth, and under the sea, when there is a sudden displacement in the earth or sea floor, which due to the earthquake, which generates the tsunami waves, right? And this moving on, as you all aware that we have discussed that this 5,700 kilometers of this coastline is vulnerable to tsunami, and the tsunami which hit in 2004 has a huge impact on our society, and it took almost a decade to reconstruct our society from the impact of the tsunami. And moving on to landslides, it is a result of natural phenomena like a heavy rainfall, snow melt, and gravity and volcanic eruption and earthquake. And these landslides are also due to the man-made actions, sometimes because of deforestation, and also the constructions in the hilly areas and blastings, right? And mostly these landslides are occur in the hilly regions like a Himalaya and Northeast India and the Nilgiris and East Ghats and Western Ghats, right? And it is also estimated that almost 30% of the world's landslides are occurring in the Himalayan ranges, and these landslides are also common in the Western Ghats, as you all aware, right? Especially the people who are living in the hilly area, they are being affected due to these landslides, and the infrastructures, houses, roads, and the public buildings being located in the hilly areas are being damaged due to the landslides. And moving on to flood, as previously I was saying, as on August 16th, 3 states were facing the flood situation in our country: Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Assam, right? And in generally, if you see, almost 12% of the total landmass in our country is highly vulnerable to the flood. And most of the states in the country are vulnerable to the floods, but the degree of impact or the varying is also varied. And if you see the list of states which is highly vulnerable to the flood is being given here, you can read out, right? As you all aware, Assam is facing 3 waves of flood every year, and similarly Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Gujarat, Maharashtra, right? And these are the states that are being affected by the floods. And then on average, 7.5 million hectares of hectares were affected being every year by the flood. And this flooding is perhaps the most critical and common climate-related hazard in our country, right? And according to this National Commission on Floods, out of 40 million hectares are susceptible to the floods. And it is also possible to provide a reasonable degree in production, nearly 80%. It's almost 32 million hectares, right? And on an average, annually, a few hundreds of lives were lost. As you all aware that the flood is the people who do not know swimming, and the animals were also losing their lives due to the flood. And the millions of people become rendered houseless, and lakhs of hectares of crops were also being damaged, right? So the major impact of flood is damaging the houses, animals, loss of animals, and also damaging the crops. And the animals also sometimes were killed and injured. Moving on to the earthquake, almost 58.6% of the total landmass in our country. It's almost more than half of the landmass is vulnerable to earthquake. As you all aware, at least every week, 1 or 2 states were facing the earthquake. They are experiencing the earthquake. It varies from mild to severe, or very high level, right? And these following states like Jammu, Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Delhi, Gujarat, Bihar, North Bengal, Northeast states, including Sikkim, were located in zone 4 and 5, which is highly vulnerable for this earthquake, right? And as we are discussing that 59% of the India's territory is vulnerable to earthquake. And in the last 3 major earthquakes, if you see that in Gujarat 2001, and in Kashmir 2005, in 2011 Sikkim. And these are the 3 major earthquakes happen in our country, which made a huge impact on the society. And a lot of school buildings and other common infrastructures were being damaged, right? And the 7 states in the northeast like Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura, and the Andaman Nicobar Island, and 3 states in the north and northwest, Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand, and Gujarat, are located in the seismic zone 5, which is highly vulnerable to earthquake. And if you see the impact of this earthquake is human, man and material. These are the 2 major losses, and the collapse of infrastructure and the disruption of services. These are the major consequences of the earthquake in our country. And moving on to earthquake, moving on to drought. As you all aware that the drought is a result of long period of dry weather and insufficient precipitation, which caused acute dry conditions, right? And it's almost 2/3 of landmass. Our country is vulnerable to drought. And many people, you may aware the name of the states which are all highly vulnerable to drought. And some of the states names were given here, like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. And these are the states where highly vulnerable to the drought. And many times it is also making distress migration. So we have seen some of the natural disasters and how it is being affected our country and what are the impacts among the society, right? And apart from that, if you see the increasing intensity of population and economic activities and urbanization also makes our metropolitan cities and other cities at a greater risk, right? Though we have a lot of policies for how construction, but many times the policies were not being practiced at grassroots level, which makes cities also a greater risk, right? And at the urban level, if you see the risks are primarily from the structural collapse and urban flooding and fire and chemical biological disasters. And similar to this rural risk, in the urban area also you can see the fire accidents in the Delhi or Bangalore or Kolkata. You can see at least 1 fire accident every week in one of the major metropolitan cities, right? And similarly, during the rainy season, the sudden urban flash flood is also another risk for the urban. And apart from that, this chemical and biological disasters are also a threat to the urban area. And inadequate regulations and enforcement on building and build environment increase the earthquake vulnerability at the urban level. And we are also facing the twin challenges right? One side, we need to build a new disaster resilient infrastructure, and another side, we need to make existing infrastructure as safer, right? So we have, the cities are also facing the twin challenges at the time of disasters, because one side we are making a large, huge amount for the infrastructure development, but at the same time, these, whenever this disaster occurs, suddenly it makes it as a zero. All right, how it is being affecting our country, right? So now let me give a small exercise to all the participants. I request all of you to kindly listen and also see my slide. See, here I one side I've given a list of different types of disaster. Another side's name of participant starts with the alphabets, right? So the participant name starts with A, B, C. Okay, please type list of states highly vulnerable to flood. Even if you know some of the district name also, you can type. Okay, type all the answers in one message, single message. Don't post each state as a one message. So the participant's name starts with A, B, C. You may place, you may type the list of states are highly vulnerable to flood. Okay, and similarly, if you know the name of the districts also, you can write. And similarly, the participant's name starts with D, E, F. You may type list of states are vulnerable to thunderstorm. And similarly, the participant name starts with G, H, I. You may type list of states are highly vulnerable to heat waves. And the participant name starts with J, H, I, J, K, L. You may type list of states are highly vulnerable to cyclone. And M, N, O, you may type list of states highly vulnerable to drought. And P, Q, R, you may type list of states vulnerable to earthquake. And participant name starts with ST, you may type tsunami. And V, W, X, Y, Z, you may type list of states vulnerable to landslide. So let me give 3 minutes time. All of you may type in the chat box. I hope all of you understand the activity, right? Okay, I got a answer from Amanpreet Gaur. Okay, his name starts with A. Assam, Bihar, West Bengal, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Orissa, Kerala, Gujarat. Okay. And for flood, some of the states were also being missing. Andhra Pradesh is also missing here. Fine. Hope all of you understand the activity. I request all the participants to kindly answer. Type your answer in the chat box. Pasha has written Assam, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar. B, thunderstorm. Okay. Type all the states' name in a single message. Don't post one state as one single message. Let us spend a 3 minutes time for this exercise. All of you may type in the chat box your answer. I got an answer from Anita Rai and also Thotam Basa. Only 5 people have answered as of now. Have given a group, I have given an activity here. I'm not asking you to type your own state, the state which you belong to. I'm not asking you to write that. Please type list of states, or if your name starts with ABC, you may type list of states vulnerable to flood. Okay. Accordingly, you may refer the slide and type. Okay, fine. I request all of you to kindly answer it to the chat box. Since we have a lack of time, so let me move on to the next aspect. So far we have discussed about the hazard profile of India, and from that we could able to understand how our country is vulnerable to multi hazard. okay, and how it is being affecting our society. So now we need a disaster management mechanism to manage the disasters. So let us understand what is the disaster management mechanism available in our country. So before starting with that, let me give a brief history of the different disasters, major disaster hit our country. If you take from 1950 to 1999, almost 50 years, if you see the different types of major disaster, it is only three types: earthquake, cyclone. Only two types we could see, right? Earthquake and cyclone. These are the two types of major disasters which we have faced in from 1950 to 1999, almost 50 years, right? From this, the different states were being affected, and almost 46,090 lives were being lost. Okay, and almost 10 major disasters we have faced in almost in 50 years. Okay, and if you see this slide, in 5 years from 2001 to 2005, and if you see the different types of major disasters, it's earthquake, tsunami, flood, avalanche, right? And almost it's four. Earlier it was only two types, and here we have almost faced four different types of major disasters which hit only in this 5 years I'm giving. And similarly, if you see the loss of lives, it is also very high, almost 30,000 in the during the past 50 years. If you see, the number of major disasters were much less, and at the same time, the loss of life was almost about 46,000. But in the 5 years, the different types of major disasters also increased, and the number of loss of lives is also being increased. And at the same time, if you see, the loss of property is also very high. Okay, and so why I have shown this is, so the frequency and intensity of the disasters were being increasing. So we should have a kind of disaster management mechanism in our country, right? So to move on to this, if you see, until 2001, the responsibility of disaster management was held with the Ministry of Agriculture, right? And after that, the high power committee was set up, and disaster management, and this committee was under the chairmanship of Sri J.C. Ban in August 1999, and it was prior to Odisha super cyclone. Okay, and after that, all party national committee has been promoted under the chairmanship of Prime Minister in February 2001, and this was happened after Gujarat earthquake. Why we have given this incident is here to understand, to keep in your mind easily, you can remember, and when these committees were promoted, and how the paradigm shift happening in the disaster management mechanism in our country. And in 2002, the responsibility of disaster management has been transferred to Ministry of Home Affairs, right? And the National Disaster Management Authority has been established with a executive order in September 2005. And beyond that, the Disaster Management Act has been also passed in December 2005. See the shift from 2001 to 5, when the you can compare easily, the intensity and the frequency of disasters were also being increased, and at the same time we have also started following different changes in the management of the disaster management mechanism in our country. So after this Disaster Management Act, we came up with the vision of building a safer and disaster resilient India by developing the holistic, proactive, multi-disaster oriented technology. Because our country is also a multi-disaster, multi-hazard country, and how we are going to build a safer and disaster resilient country through a culture of prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and response. Right, and I'll be explaining what is this prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and response in future, so that you can understand. Right, so overall our national vision was to make our country as safe and also disaster resilient, right? through the culture of prevention, mitigation, and preparedness and response. Right. So till 2001, the response was held with the Ministry of Agriculture, and after 2005, we came up with the National Disaster Management Authority, and we have passed the Disaster Management Act in 2005. Okay. And so there is a paradigm shift from the response-centric to holistic approach. I'll tell you, till that 2001 or till this Disaster Management Act, whenever the disaster comes, we used to just respond to that. We used to support the people. We used to do a recovery. We used to reconstruct. Right. But after this Disaster Management Act 2005, there is a paradigm shift from response-centric to holistic approach, starting from the preparedness. Okay. So before, what we have done, when the disaster comes, we used to just respond. But now we are prepared. We are ready to face the disasters. If we know there is going to be a cyclone and we are getting the warning and we are evacuating the people and we are making them safe. So we are prepared. Our society is now prepared. So this Disaster Management Act makes a paradigm shift from the response-centric to preparedness. Okay. And it is also given an institutional framework and legal authority. Until 2001, when the response was held with the Ministry of Agriculture, there is no institutional mechanism in our country, and legal authorities were also not nominated. But after this act only, now we are having the institutional framework for disaster management, and also have a legal authority for the management of disasters in our country. And we are also being supported with the financial mechanisms, like we also able to create a new funds like a response fund and mitigation fund. And now we also have a Prime Minister's Relief Fund and Chief Minister's Disaster Relief Fund, right? So these are all the features of this Disaster Management Act 2005. And moving on to the disaster management structure, and the National Disaster Management Authority, shortly call it as a NDMA, has been set up as the apex body, and the Honorable Prime Minister is the chairperson of this NDMA. Right. And we also have a three-tier structure of institutional mechanisms at three levels: at national level, state level, and district level. So national level, we have a National Disaster Management Authority, and state level, we have a State Disaster Management Authority, and district level, we have a District Disaster Management Authorities. And apart from that, we also have a National Executive Committees. And here the secretaries of 14 ministries and the Chief of Integrated Defense Staff function as the Executive Committee of these National Disaster Management Authorities. So at the center level, the central ministries will continue with the nodal responsibilities, the 14 ministries which you have said, Agriculture Ministry and the Ministry of Chemical, right? And these different ministries will continue with the nodal responsibilities, and this NDMA will provide a guidance and coordination synergy to the respective ministries to manage. For example, now we have a Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which is taking the nodal responsibility of managing the pandemic, and this NDMA is providing the guidance and coordination and synergy, right? And as we discussed at the state level, we have a State Disaster Management Authority, which is being headed by the Chief Minister. All right. And in addition to that, at state level, we also have a State Executive Committee. This is being headed by the Chief Secretary, and he will coordinate and monitor the implementation of the National Disaster Management Policies and National Plan and State Plan. All right. At the district level, as we discussed, we also have a DDMA, and the District Magistrate is a chairperson, and he is the head of the DDMA, right? Sorry, being headed, the DDMA is headed by the District Magistrate, and the chairperson of Jilla Parishad is also a co-chairperson for this District Disaster Management Authority, and this co-chairperson is acting as an interface between the government and public, right? And apart from that, we also have a different agencies like a National Disaster Response Force, and we also have a National Institute of Disaster Management, right? And these are all the central level institutes. So far we have seen the national level disaster management mechanism, three-tier disaster management mechanism. Similarly, we also have a disaster response. Okay, we have a three-tier mechanism for the disaster response. So at national level, we have a national disaster response force, which is having the defense, central, civil aviation, police force, and also other central agencies. And whenever required, they used to come and support. And state level, we also have a state disaster response force and other state agencies, state executive committees, the paramilitary forces and different agencies at state level also acting. And at district level, if you see civil administration and local police force and civil defense, fire and emergency services and home guards and local community NGOs and voluntary organizations, they also being supporting at the district level, and they are acting as a response force. All right, and especially this police force and the civil defense, fire and emergency services, home guards, they are also supporting at state level for the state and also acting as a state disaster response force. Right. And coming to this NDRF, they have a specialized response force. Right. They used to provide a specialized response during the disaster. If someone in the as you all aware, recently now the Assam, Bihar, and these are facing the flood, and if your women require a support for the safe delivery or instant delivery of your child, and they have a health team who can support, and they have a team for rescuing the people, right? And they also have a team for managing the chemical disaster, biological disasters, right? So this NDRF is having these specialized different teams, and they also provide a specialized response during the disasters, right? And if whenever they are getting the any warning related to the early warning related to the disaster, and they used to the NDRF teams were being deployed to the respective states, right? And they used to reach the particular place, and they used to do a disaster management. They used to rescue the people. And during the non-disaster period, this NDRF is also providing the basic and operational level training to state response forces like a police, civil defense, and also home guards, right? And they also assist the community. They also assist the community. They also assist the community in the managing the disasters, and they also assist the community in training and preparedness work. I'll call you later. So these license and recognize rehearsals and the mock drills were also being conducted by the NDRF team at the time of during the non-disaster period, right? They used to reach schools, and they used to go to the community to manage the to conduct the mock drills and the rehearsals, right? So overall, the NDRF is playing an active role in the response, right? And so we have a three-tier also response mechanism in our country, and the NDRF play a crucial role in the during disasters and non-disaster period. Also, they are spending their time very productively to build the resilience of the society. Coming to this, in case of any major disasters here, this National Crisis Management Committee, which is being headed by the Cabinet Secretary, and the National Executive Committee at Home Secretary level also play a direct and monitoring and support role, right? The Indian Armed Forces and Civil Aviation Police Forces are also supposed to call upon whenever their support is being required. For example, during this pandemic also, the CM of Delhi has requested the paramilitary services to manage the COVID-19 situation. So whenever the support is being required, they used to call other people also, right? In practice, the armed forces and civil aviation police forces are also added strength to the government for the response and capacity when the severity and magnitude of disaster is extremely high, right? So finally, these are all the 7 pillars, which is also being a strategy for this paradigm shift in our country, right? And During the pre-disaster phase, prevention, mitigation, preparedness, capacity building, and community-based disaster management. These are the 5 major pillars, and where we are also working on it. Okay, during the pre-disaster phase, let us understand prevention. Prevention is any activity or measures which is completely removing or eradicating or eliminating the disaster risk is called prevention. So we also do in the pre-disaster period, we also do a in the pre-disaster period, we also do a prevention activities, right? And similarly, we also do certain mitigation activities. Mitigation is nothing but any measures or activity, whatever we do in order to reduce or minimize, right, or to lessening the risk is a mitigation. All right. For example, prevention is during the pandemic. If you are not going out of the home, it's prevention. And mitigation, we are wearing the mask and wearing the washing the hands, and we are maintaining the social distancing. These are all the mitigation activity, right? And preparedness is like a being ready, preparing our society to respond when the disaster comes. For example, when we are planning to go somewhere or any tourist program or anywhere, we are making a plan, we are making a tour plan, and we are booking the ticket. Similarly, before the disaster, we are preparing ourselves, right? We are conducting training program to build the resilience of the society. We are conducting the training programs, and we are also preparing the plan, and we are also implementing such plans, right? And as a part of capacity building, we also conduct training programs to the NDRF, also conduct STRF and NCC, NYKs. They all conducting training program to the society, and NDRF is also organizing training to STRF, NCC, and NYKs. And apart from that, we also do a community-based disaster management, which includes public awareness, right? And we also prepare at village level community-based disaster management plan, and also we are promoting community-based disaster management committees. So overall, these are the major 5 strategies which we are following as a main strategy for paradigm shift, right? And during the post-disaster phase, we are working on a response, okay, which includes rescuing the people who are struggling in the flood, and providing relief work, and also doing the rehabilitation, right? And we also do reconstruction and recovery. It is a build back better. Like whenever the disaster hits, we used to lose everything. So after losing everything, for example, in a coastal area, if there is a kacha house during the cyclone, it may be damaged. So after that cyclone, when we are reconstructing that houses, it should be a resilient infrastructure, right? We used to make a pakka house so that even when when again the cyclone happens, it may not damage the particular house. So it's called, that's what we are saying, that it's a build back better. And we are also making a resilient infrastructure. Okay, and a response is what are the activities which you are doing to save the life, in order to save the life. Okay, it is called a response. We may provide a food, we may rescue the people, right? It's all belongs to the, it's all a part of response activity. So we have discussed these 7 pillars, which is made this strategy as a paradigm shift, right? So here we have discussed about the disaster management mechanism available in our country. So I would like to ask 2 questions here to all the participants. After that, we can go to the question and answer session. Can anyone tell me which year the Disaster Management Act passed? I request all of you to kindly type in the chat box. Which year the Disaster Management Act passed? Anybody? Okay. So I got an answer from Mr. Saravana Kumar, and also Vedala Karnish and Amanpreet, Ishwar, Mr. Miss Prema, it's not 2004, 2005. Please correct. And Dr. Pradeep, yeah, December 2005, Nidhi has written. Okay, thank you so much. And the second question is, who is the chairman of the District Disaster Management Authority? Our district disaster management authority is headed by whom? Deputy Commissioner. Okay, the designation may be varied state to state, but exactly who is the person? The district disaster management authority is headed by whom? Yeah, Iswar has written district magistrate. Very good. Collector Saranakumar has written collector. Yeah, in each state the designation may be changed. Not PM. Nitipriya, it's not PM. I'm asking about a district disaster management authority. Chairperson of district disaster management authority. DC of the collector. Okay, DC of the district. Okay. Thank you so much. As of now, we have discussed about the hazard profile of our country, and also we have seen in the second part the disaster management mechanism in our country. Now, if you have any questions, you may post in the chat box. I request all the participants, you may post your questions in the chat box. Let me start.
I think, sir, there is no as such question. Our participant seems to be highly satisfied with your session. So, but still, we will invite if some questions, if any doubts you have, you can clarify with our experts. You can put your question here. So, any one of you, if you have any kind of a query regarding this, you can ask here.
One question is here, how to join NYKS. NYKS Nehru Yuva Kendra Sankatan, right? It is located, NYKS, each district has one district coordinator, Nehru Yuva Kendra Sankatan coordinator, and you can approach the district coordinator of this NYKS to join the program. Any person, any adolescent who can join in this NYKS, and where you will get a lot of trainings, and you will also get an opportunity to go for a youth exchange program, and you will also get an opportunity to involve in the social service or in the disaster management work also, right? And apart from this district NYK youth coordinator, and each block is also having the one block level coordinator, right? And you can also approach him, and where the youth or adolescents used to form a NYK at a village level to serve the society, right? And it can be a social work, it can be any disaster management work also they used to take up. I hope you got a relevant answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think our participant have got the relevant answer from your side. So, if there is no more question, I would like to extend my thanks.
One more questions. Kindly say
Yes,
something about.
Yeah, one question has just come up. You can just take it from there.
Yeah. Kindly say something about the basic disaster management during a earthquake, right? Actually, whenever earthquake comes, you need to immediately come out of the building. That is the basic thing you need to do. In case if you are in the building, okay, go and if any tables are there, you can go under the table to cover yourself, right? So that you can protect yourself from the damage of the building. And if there is no any tables or there is no any pillars, you can go to the corner of the building and you can stand there. So there is a formula. And another question, how can I join?
Can I add, Balu?
Yeah, Mr. Ranjan, please go ahead.
Okay. Regarding to basic concept of disaster management for earthquake, first of all, you have to follow the guideline of NDM, National Disaster Management Authority, and there are some guidelines regarding to land use planning, zonation of micro zonation of maps also available there. So first of all, you have to assure about in which area, which type of intensity of earthquake frequency earthquake happened. Accordingly, you have to plan and also use building bylaws already approved law regarding to building bylaws. So for any type of a structure आप निर्माण कर रहे हैं before, so you have to follow the building bylaws for this also. So this is also one of the important thing before starting any work in earthquake area.
Yeah. In addition to that, you can also create awareness on do's and don'ts during earthquake. This is the major activity where you can do for the disaster management, especially during the earthquake. And
also participate in mock drill exercise by the government organization.
The formula is drop, cover, hold on. These are the basic things you need to follow during the earthquake. Yeah. There is no any other question as of now. Any questions you may post in the chat box. And one is, how can I join CCDRR? CCDRR is a child-centric disaster risk reduction center at National Institute of Disaster Management. So if any vacancies comes, you can join. But we are conducting a lot of training programs and webinars to create awareness among the people. And whoever interested, you may register and enroll yourself to join the program.
Okay. So I think, sir, you have taken almost the questions. So there is no more question. And since there is a paucity of time, we will moving towards the winding of our session. So I would extend my heartfelt thanks.
Raka sir, would you like to add anything, sir?
Sir?
Your mic is muted, sir.
Dr. Balu, everything is perfect. No need to add anything. It was perfect question answer session as well. So I was just listening all of you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Pratik.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I would like to extend my thanks to you, sir, on the behalf of our Department of Education and our participants, that you have given a very comprehensive overview over the disaster management mechanism in India. It was a very enlightening session and the practical too. And I hope our participants are highly benefited, since their messages you can see in the chat box. And I would like to extend our thanks to Mr. Ranjan Kumar for clearing the doubts of our participants. And Raka sir is always there as usual. He is with us. Thank you to you, sir, for being with us. And I would like to extend my thanks to all the dignitaries, those who have joined here and being with us in this program. And in the last, I would like to say thanks to our participants, without whom we cannot do this program successfully. So for the today, we are ending our this technical sessions, and tomorrow again we will start at 11. So everybody, all dear participants, kindly join on the time so that we can start the session smoothly. And one more thing, few people are asking that how we will get certificate. So don't bother about certificate, attend the full program, and the certificates will be sent on the registered mail through which you have registered for the program.
It is mandatory to register at NIDM training portal and enroll yourself to get the certificate. And the registration is enabled till last day of the program. So we will be sending the link to you. So I request all of you to kindly register and enroll yourself before completing the course. So after completion of course, within 2 days, you can download your e-certificate from our NIDM training portal. In case any one or two, yeah, that we can discuss later.
Dr. Balu, I would request that tomorrow after the sessions, just explain the entire mechanism of downloading and enrolling the certificates. That will be better for all the participants also and for us as well.
Sure.
Yes, that will be good, sir. That will be convenient for the participant. And one more thing, that those who have registered from the portal of Mizoram University and our site, they will be getting the certificate from our side.
Sir, please clarify, everyone will get the certificate from the portal only.
Your portal, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, one thing you can do, if you have the link for the registration, please send it in the chat box right now.
Dr. Pratik, I would like to just mention one important thing.
Yes, sir, please.
When we conducted the program, previously when we were conducting the program, actually certificate distribution was manual. Manually, we had to send the certificates to participants' mail. Now, NIDM has come up with a automated portal. Okay, once you are registered with the NIDM portal and with a particular program, immediately after completion of the program, if your attendance for all the 3 days is above 80%, then automatically you will get the certificate after filling the feedback. There is a feedback, some 8 to 10 questions like there. And once you submit your questions, feedback, your certificate is automatically generated. So manual things are over now, and link right now also, Ranjan, your Balu, you can send in the chat box. And tomorrow after the sessions, once again, Dr. Balu will exactly explain the entire process and give you the entire link. And don't worry for the certificates. Either if you are registered on the Mizoram University portal, it's fine. Either it's you are registering with the NIDM portal, it's fine. But for certificates, it's mandatory now to register on the NIDM's portal, and 80% attendance for all the 3 days. It's mandatory actually.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So I think, sir, if you can share the link with the participant today or tomorrow, that will be good, so that they can register on the NIDM portal.
आज भी शेयर कर दीजिए रंजन जी एक लिंक आज भी
already shared. It is shared in the chat box now.
Okay. Yeah,
tomorrow we will share again, and till the last day also you can register yourself, so no need to hurry.
Yeah. So all dear participants, you can register by the link that Dr. Balu has shared with you. So can
not
you
every day, not every day.
Not every day, just registered once.
It's one day, one time registration, one time.
Okay. So I hope the participant have got our point and they will register it. So I think, sir, now we can conclude the today's session.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you all of you for joining and giving your time, valuable time. Thank you, sir. And thank you to all our participants for joining. And I hope you all will again join on time tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pratik and Dr. Professor Lal Masai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you, sir. So now I am just ending the meeting from my side. Thank you so much.